Welcome back to slightly warmer climes. Now that we are finished with all the DLC areas, it is time to actually attend to what the game wanted us to do quite some time ago. At the end of the Undead Crypt, we picked up the King's Ring. And the King's Ring is a unique item that while you can equip it and get some benefits from it, it boosts fire damage, I believe, or maybe just pyromancy, I'm not sure which. But it also functions as the symbol of the king. When you equip it, these gates open. We're not going to be doing anything particularly difficult today, so I've equipped some new weapons and armor. We are wearing the bottom portion of the Northwarder set we picked up in Aleum Lois, as well as the Ice Rapier. Well, this gate was kind of a bust. There is, however, one prize for going here. We could technically see this item from the very beginning of the game. 2 Twinkling Titanite for our trouble. Not really what we were looking for, though. There must be some significance to the area since there was a bonfire. But we'll have to look elsewhere. Maybe we'll come back later when we figure out the mystery of, alas, nothing happened. The second Kingsgate is in the Kingsgate area, actually. Underneath, well, not underneath, but on the bottom floor of Drangleic Castle. Open area ahead. Oh goodness. This is the Throne of Want. The basement of Castle Drangleic is apparently a gigantic open chasm with a narrow walkway leading to a mysterious structure in the distance. Bit surreal and ominous. There is actually a boss coming up, as evidenced by the fog door and the NPC summon signatures, which I think that I will avail myself of. If you do Vengarl's side quest line, as he mentioned, you can summon him if you so desire. And since this is the first opportunity that we had to do so, I figure that I might as well. Benhard is also here because Benhard is everywhere. Bringing in some helpers to this fight can be pretty useful. The reason being, this is a duo boss fight between the Throne Watcher and the Throne Defender. Compared to the bosses in Aleum Lois and all the DLC areas, this is really not a big deal. It's honestly pretty easy to do solo, but having 2 other phantoms to help out take some of the aggro off is really quite helpful. The Watcher and Defender are not particularly interesting in their attacks. They have very slow and telegraphed sword jabs and swipes, and they don't do that much damage. I'm wearing light armor, and they're not really phasing me that much. The only wrinkle... There are two wrinkles to this fight. One is they can enchant their weapons with elemental damage. I believe that the Throne Defender, the guy who looks like a king, can use lightning, and the Throne Watcher, who looks like a queen, can use magic. The other wrinkle to this fight... Well, actually, it might both be lightning, but that's sort of... I'm not sure. The other wrinkle to this fight is a mechanic wherein if you kill one of them, but not the other, they can actually revive each other. This has never happened to me, but I know that it is possible. So, what you want to do is get them both reasonably low, and then when one is down, simply blitz down the other, which should be pretty easy because they're not really meant to be fought one-on-one. The Phantoms took most of the hits for us in that fight, so they're a little worse for the wear, but everybody's fine. Kind of a paltry amount of souls, actually. If this is indeed the Throne of Want, it is both inaccessible and somewhat underwhelming. Looks less like a throne and more like a clay oven. Well, the search continues. You don't actually have to fight the Throne Watcher and Defender right now. You can wait until later if you want, but there are a couple of reasons why it's advantageous to do it earlier. After the lengthy trek back to civilization, we have one more destination that we should investigate. Before we go, I do sort of want to check in on a couple things in Majula, since it's been a while since we've been back here. Seems like we have quite a healthy collection of flames now.
I don't know what causes it. But there is some... It seems something...
Kale the cartographer is, as usual, kind of scatterbrained and not much help. It's just nice to see a visual representation of progress, abstract as it might be. This is also kind of a short video, so I might have been looking for things to pad it out a little bit. We're in a sort of awkward transitional part of the game. The final Kingsgate is actually quite prominent. We encountered it a while ago when we were first exploring the Shaded Woods. It's up the middle path in the forked road. This is also the correct destination for continuing the game, if you want to put things in reductive terms. This is Aldia's Keep. Rather interesting area. Starting out innocuous enough with a nice little courtyard and a super loud gate closing behind us, and not in all an ominous way. First thing to notice in this courtyard is the return of the weird little guys from the Things Betwixt. However, while those guys were harmless, these guys are very aggressive and they can petrify and toxic you. They're extremely dangerous because they're so small and they can do it quickly. Fortunately, the alt fire, if you want to call it that, the strong attack of the ice rapier fires a strong magic bolt that can pierce through enemies, making pretty quick work of them. If you are in the mood for farming some of the more esoteric weapons in the game, parking yourself here is actually a good idea because the little guys, I'm not really sure what they're called actually, tend to drop interesting weapons. There's another mimic here, and I sort of wanted to fight one more or less legitimately. Kind of show off how they fight. Unfortunately, I seem to have gotten this guy into a bit of an AI loop by simply using the powerful strategy, stay to his side. Provided that you know they're coming, they're not very difficult to take on. Our reward is the final piece of the dark set, the dark mask, and hell yeah, skulls. In this abandoned shack, we find a bonfire and Lucatiel, who has seen better days.
Who are you? Oh. No. Forgive me. I know you. Yes, of course. How goes your journey? I know not what you seek in this faraway land, but I pray for your safety. Please take these. Consider this thanks for keeping me sane. My name is Lucatiel. I beg of you remember my name, for I may not myself.
This marks the end of Lucatiel's questline. Once you hear that final bit of dialogue, and you rest at the bonfire, she disappears from the game. Not a particularly happy end, but there still might be something we can do for her if we're successful. Only time will tell, and we'll carry on her equipment in her name, which we shall remember. Until that time,